keep it going for yourselves. Yeah, that didn't feel dirty to you, did it? Low Impact Equipment is actually the name of my death metal band. It's Good Friday tonight. Good Friday, the least successful of the Ice Cube movies, both critically and at the box office. Good Friday is kind of a strange name, though. I didn't know the original Christians had such an ironic sense of humor. Strange. The day Jesus died, though I guess they were kind of the first subculture, if you think about it. The Romans were like, pull up your robes. And the Christians were like, make me. You're not dad. Perhaps it was the Romans that named it Good Friday, because they were just happy to be rid of that guy, Jesus. It seems harsh now, but in hindsight, but at the time it seemed like the right move, I think. Because, there were a lot of people that said they were Jesus before Jesus showed up. So, how do you know? People just get overlooked. Tom Brady got drafted in the 6th round. It happens. And he turned water into Deion Branch. So, really funny for the 6 people that were hoping to hear a Deion Branch joke tonight. They're loving it. They're writing this down in their journals. Is everybody doing okay out there? Cool. I'm not. I'll be okay, but my financial situation is not really where I'd like it to be. I thought I was doing fine. And then I got a text from my dad today that was like, hey, I'm really sorry. We can't make it to the show tonight. You owe the IRS $1,900. And I was like, I don't have $1,900. So what do I do? Is it just done? Is it all just over now? Do I reset? Do I go to jail? Is that a possibility? Am I going to jail? Do I just not tell? Do we not file? I don't have $1,900, so I'm not the guy the IRS is gunning for. You know what I mean? If I just don't file taxes, they're not gonna seek me out, right? This isn't that desperate of a situation. I think I'll be okay. But it did just make me, because I was watching the movie Casino Royale the other day, where James Bond plays in a high-stakes poker game to try to save the world from terrorism. A dude wrote that movie, I promise. And I was like, wow, because in old movies, there's these villains have all this money, and a lot of times, there's something will happen and they'll lose all their money, and there'll be this scene near the end of the movie where they drop down to their knees, sometimes metaphorically or physically, and they're like, no, I'm ruined, because of some tragedy. And I was trying to think what my threshold for that moment was, and it's $120 roughly for me at this point. If I have to spend an unexpected $120, that's me, going, I'm ruined. If I had to pay, the water bill twice, or buy shots for a dog that I don't own and can't afford. So that's why I don't think the IRS is coming after me. But hey, I don't have it the worst out of anyone. Foregoing everyone, anywhere. Governor of Indiana is catching a lot of flack nowadays, right? Because he did something that people didn't like, and he allowed people to be discriminated against, and everybody's like, the nerve. And as us as the state of Kansas, we can't help but feel really, what? You mean what happened here months ago? Half a year ago? That's how low the standards are for Kansas at this point. That Indiana can do the same thing. And it's a crisis. Not Indiana. Oh, not Indiana. Huh? Oh, no, don't. We're talking about Indiana right now, Kansas. You're doing whatever. And it's true, Brownback has gotten a lot of... Is anybody a fan? Raise your hand if you're a fan of the governor. For the people behind the partition, that was 0 hands. So Brownback jokes are gonna fly tonight, guys. Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't even met somebody who's willing to, like, kind of stick up for him. Everybody's just like, no. It's like, no, he's done. I'm terrible. I'm out. No chips for Brownback. Because almost everybody has somebody that's like, well, like, Steve is terrible. But remember the time he brought donuts for everyone? Remember that? That was great. And when you look at Brownback, you can just tell he's never brought donuts to anyone. Ever. Not even his wife. Just a sinister man. And it wouldn't be a problem if he was like, I have heard someone, the best defense I've heard someone give is like, oh, he's not fucking up that bad. I was at a bar. So he's like, oh, he's not fucking up that bad. Which would be hilarious if he was like your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. Like passed out by the afternoon game. Like, oh, come on, it's just funny. He's not fucking up that bad. But it's not funny when he's the governor of your state. That's not a funny situation. Because it's kind of a dick move in general to run for governor. It's saying like, yeah, you guys are idiots, I got this. Let me do this for us. Give me the ball. I want to score. And if you do that, you have to be LeBron James. You have to be like the best person to do it. And Brownback is not. He's like the guy at the Y with sports specs who shoots every time he gets the ball, doesn't play defense. Sam Brownback. Thank you guys again for coming out tonight. Give yourselves one more round of applause. Just because this is like, people went home. You didn't have to be here. But you made the commitment to yourselves and to comedy. So I thank you for supporting this live art. We've got a great lineup tonight. A number of K-State students and a number of people who aren't. So, I don't know. That was coming to a nice bow tie there, and I just kind of lost where I was going. Everybody give it up for Tyler Goevert, your first comedian.
Hey guys. I held that closer than I should have. Anyway, hold it closer, Tiny Dancer. All right, there we go. All right, is that good? Are we good there? All right. Right now, I'm just really trying to remember the beginning of my set, so just gonna figure out this volume thing for a while. All right. So if you've seen me before, you might know me as the guy who told a story about shitting his pants. I was having a little bit of trouble getting things ready for this show, so I was really close to buying a bottle of laxative to come up with some new material. Has anybody out there seen the movie Mad Max? They're about to make a reboot, actually. But dusty wasteland, society's in complete disarray. No one seems very educated. And, I watch it and I have to think, I think this is Sam Brownback's favorite movie. Because, think about it. Okay, you look at what the guy does, and Kansas is a few more funding cuts away from falling into a Thunderdome-style collapse where people, two men enter, one man leaves, that's who's governor. Like, I think that's a situation. So, graduated from K-State. Who all here goes to school? All right, yeah. School's bad. Don't go to college. Anyway, when I graduated, it is really hard to get a budget together. I thought, how could I look as poor as I feel? So I started growing a beard. And when I was in college, I was so used to being poor. I got really good at trading things. Not money, just goods, services. I was very good at bartering in college. I learned after you graduate, that is not a skill that's useful. Nobody's going to fix your car for the fattest calf on your farm. And, you can't buy a case of beer, or you can't trade a case of beer for a live chicken anymore. It's sad. There have been nights, had chicken, no beer. I'm no longer allowed on poultry farms. So, out on the highway, we have a few different billboards, and there was one I saw, and it, Smokey the Bear says, "Only you can prevent forest fires." Shit. I owe a huge apology to the state of California. Billboards can be really misleading. Like, okay, so another one. This one makes me more mad than anything else. I was coming in from Kansas City. There's one out there that says, "Kansas farmer feeds 125 people plus you." Bullshit. I was sitting at my table for 2 hours wearing my bib. My food got cold. No sign of a damn farmer. Okay, we'll get a little into it. Anybody had a pregnancy scare? All right, that guy has. Well, I think there were a lot of dudes I heard cheer for that. And I think there's a huge market out there for a male pregnancy test. Like, hear me out. Hear me out, you guys. You're having a scare, you go into the doctor. Doctor sits you down in his office, you fill out the paperwork. He leaves, comes back in, brings you a pair of Velcro sandals, asks you to put them on. If you leave your socks on when you put the Velcro sandals on, congratulations, you're gonna be a dad. He hands you your tongs and apron on the way out. I think it's good to have a pregnancy test for both genders. I think that would be great. I am a big proponent of gender equality. That's not a joke, okay? You were right to not laugh at that. But no, honestly, I think I understand it better than most people. As a fat guy, I've experienced both boob and ball sweat. And I'd been thinking about that while I was writing my set, and trying to wipe from underneath my chest and get that off of my paper that I was writing. And I thought, I need to write a bit to include everyone here. So I wrote this next joke in the spirit of gender equality. It's written in two ways: one to be relatable for men, one way to be relatable for women. So if you'll please indulge me, trying to do a little social experiment. Be inclusive. So guys, you know what it's like. Normal night at the bars. Look at me with those big blue eyes. Hey there. I don't know what color they are. You're out with your friends, see a cute girl, buy her a drink, just smiles, says thanks, and you guys kind of just go your separate ways. You go back to your friends, just talking, shooting the shit. All of a sudden, you feel it, you have to break the seal. Time for the first pee out at the bars. Yep. All right. You stumble over, you get into the bathroom and just set your drink up on the shelf. Just throw a hand up. And it's one of the best feelings in the world. So now, girls, you're out at the bars, you're out with your ladies. Weird guy comes up, buys you a drink. And, you smile, you say thanks, hoping that you can just kind of shut him down and he'll go back to his friends. He does. He thinks that he's going home with you. You feel pressured. I understand. I've been there. A lot of guys have tried to take me home. But anyway, you go, you turn back to your friends, you talk for a while. There it is, the urge, Time to break the seal. First drunk pee of the night. So you go in there, lock the door. Wipe the seat. Then you just crank a leg up on the tank. Just let it drain. Really let it out there. I understand. I've been there. That is why guys are really bad at being feminists. We don't get it. We're really bad. I was downtown, saw a car the other day. License plate said Camp for Fun. CAMP for FN. That makes sense. Camping for any other reason is just being homeless. Maybe some people think it's not funny to laugh at that. Maybe I'm being insensitive. I am technically homeless. That's also part of why I have the beard. Found out recently, I'm not technically signed to a lease. And, I'm not a squatter. I pay rent. But it is kind of tough sometimes because I did almost get evicted for trying to pay my rent with a flock of sheep. All right, hey, thank you guys. You've been great.
Keep it going for Tyler Goevert, everybody. It's his birthday today, huh? Keep it going for birthdays. Keep it going for days, guys. How about, let's hear it for days. All right, yeah. There we go. Thank you again for coming out to the stand-up show, the spring edition. I hope you guys are having a blast. We've got a lot more comics for you tonight, so we're going to get right into it, keep things going with a member that performed at the stand-up show last time in November, I guess that would have been, and delivered a very memorable set. I'm sure you all will have no trouble remembering his unique style. Please give it up for Aaron Messerla.
Hi. I like you already. We're going to try that again. The first thing I want to talk to you about tonight, I'm glad Danny brought it up. The last time I was here, during the middle of my set, somebody said, "It's so awkward, I don't know what to do." And I thought about it a lot. It had me down for a while. But then I realized it's actually pretty impressive that I can be so awkward that somebody doesn't know what to do at a comedy show. Like, the thought at some point crossed her mind, maybe I shouldn't laugh at the comedian. I don't know, maybe she thought I didn't want to be saying this, like I wasn't here of my own free will. If any of you are having that thought, I want to let you know I am here of my own free will. Because that's what they told me to say. Now that that's out of the way, I'll tell some jokes. Public service announcement, you should never throw your hands in the air. Because how will you catch them? With your feet, what's the next step? You can't take the next step, you'll drop your hands. Oh, I'm not done with that. The problem with my hands is they're always just out of arm's reach. Call that one hands 2. Naturally, because I called the one before that hands in the air. April Fool's Day was Wednesday. My favorite April Fool's Day joke is to pretend that April 3rd is April Fool's Day. April Fools. When you think about it, every marriage is arranged. Just depends on who's doing the arranging. I went to the wedding of an unarranged marriage once. It was chaos. They didn't even have a groom. But you know what they say, so I figured I'd ask you. He doesn't know what they say. I know what people say. People say dumb things all the time and don't realize it. Like, I would never say to somebody, I'll see you later, because I might not. Instead, I look at him and I say, well, I'll see you sooner or later. Then I look away, and then I look at him again for a second. That way, if I never see him again later, I saw them very, very soon. Or like people say they've done something a number of times and they pretend it means something. You've done anything a number of times. 0 is a number. I'm in a pie shirt. I'm obligated to tell one math joke. I hate it when people say something came off the top of their head because I think it encourages scalpings. Somebody's sitting there, hears that, and they're thinking, man, I don't need their whole head to be witty, just the top. I was talking to my grandpa the other day. He said when I was a younger man, and I said, I'm going to need some more specifics. Could have been any time in the last 70 years. He was a younger man yesterday. I left and I didn't say I'll see you later. Is Linda still here?
Yeah, she's in the back.
Okay, well, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday 187 days early. There's nothing funny there. I hope you're not too disappointed. I'm disappointed a lot. Like, I was really disappointed when I found out Orange is the New Black wasn't about the fashion choices of construction workers. I was a little bit more disappointed when I found out 50 Shades of Grey wasn't about colorblind artists. But the most disappointed I've ever been was the other day when I called my girlfriend and she still didn't exist. It's a callback to a joke I didn't tell tonight. Just so you know. I was walking through campus the other day and I watched this girl walk up to this other girl, and the first girl says, "Hi, are you Amanda?" And the second girl says, "No." The first girl says, "Oh, sorry, I'm looking for Amanda." And I thought, you'd better be. Could you imagine trying to find Jessica like that? It would be very ineffective. But could you imagine how excited you'd be when you actually found Jessica? "Oh, hi, are you Amanda?" "No, I'm Jessica." "Thank you. I've been looking for you all day." Yeah, that was the end of that side of the paper. I went to a grocery store the other day. I'd heard of pot brownies before. So I got way too excited when my mom said we'd have pot pies for dinner. Then really confused when she told me to go to the store and get some. I'd never driven to Colorado before. And I didn't think I'd be back in time for dinner. But I know she sent me to the store because she knew my dealer didn't have that special strain of chicken pot. While I was in the grocery store, I bought a disposable toothpick dispenser, but then I thought about it and I realized all toothpicks are disposable. So really, I bought a universal toothpick dispenser, and I didn't even know it. I also bought some of those new Cheez-Its Grooves. That's not the funny part. I appreciate your enthusiasm, though. But but I bought some of the new Cheez-Its Grooves because my only problem with regular Cheez-Its was their lack of traction. If anybody didn't get it, it's a dark intellectual satire on modern marketing methods. I brought this water out here just for this. They gave us these water bottles that says UPC presents Rainn Wilson, which is the worst misspelling of my name I've ever seen. Well, this next joke, I think, it's funny.
Keep it going for Aaron Messerla. Does a lot of children's birthday parties. It's great. It's great to talk to if you're feeling really down. You know, it puts you in a good mood. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Give it up for UPC who put this event on. Yeah? They support local talent at the university, and we always appreciate that. This next comedian is next on stage, and she is going to do a set of comedy for you. I'm stalling for the intro music. Do you? Yeah. Well, I didn't know. Actually, do you have intro music? Oh, okay. I thought we were picking. I thought she had one picked out. I'm sorry. That's good with me. Yeah. Okay. Can you just like leave that running, like a little low, just so I can talk over it a little bit, but like we can hear it if I stop talking. Maybe a little more on the beat, please. I feel like I could deliver any message with this in the background. I would be the coolest person ever. I'd like to deliver like a presidential address with this in the background. We gotta pick up the economy. We gotta add jobs. And that starts with us. Okay, you can cut that. Please give it up for your next stand-up comedian, Maureen Barry.
I think that To Kill a Mockingbird has a really misleading title. But I did learn a ton about integrity. My favorite game is Truth or Dare. But my friends, they'll never play with me because they say that I don't play it fairly. They'll choose truth because they're wimps. And I'll say, okay, truth. What is your PIN number? They say, Maureen, that's not how the game is played. Dare. Well, first of all, that's not how the game is played. You can't just change what you wanted after you heard the question, but I'll play. Dare. I dare you to tell me your PIN number. They won't play with me anymore. I don't understand how microwaves work. I was at the rec the other day. I was actually laying in my bed eating, but it doesn't really matter for the purpose of the joke. But I grew really anxious because I started to worry how you'd break it to a highway that it's adopted. One might say it's a rocky road. Thanks for coming out tonight, by the way, you guys. Supporting local artists, that's what you're doing, which I think is pretty cool. And it's kind of fun, because when I look around this room, I look around and I can tell you guys we all have one thing in common, and that's that we're drunk. Is that me? It's only me? Okay, this will be a really good set. This is my second time doing the UPC stand-up show, so that's pretty exciting. So I guess I'll give you a couple updates on my life since that was last happening. I'm dating the man of my dreams. I made him up. But if I could date the man of my dreams, I would date FDR. I mean, as a president, he had everything. He had it and he implemented a vision for this country. He had unprecedented integrity. And but I say this, the most important thing about him is that he had handicap parking. Which comes at a premium. I had an internship this past summer at Washington, D.C. with Georgetown Law, and that was really crazy. I learned a lot about the East Coast, I learned a lot about D.C., and everyone in D.C. is very, very, very educated, which is hard to understand when you're coming from Kansas. Yeah. You laugh, but you're the ones who elected Brown back again, so... I had this one teacher for constitutional law, and she was particularly pompous. She thought, oh God, she thought she was so great. And she told me in class one time, and this is a quote, "Maureen, your opinion is wrong." Which, not only is that rude, but doesn't actually make any sense. And that didn't really sit very well with my Midwestern manners, so I decided that after class, at the time, I was like, this will be a good idea. I'm going to confront her about that. So I go up to my teacher and I list off my grievances, and she was appalled that anyone could ever dare negate her. And she just tore into me, lecturing me and all this kind of stuff. And she said, what gives you the right to talk to me that way? And I just cowered and stared at my notes. And I said, the First Amendment. But DC is really crazy. First of all, who's actually been to DC in the summertime? All right, we've all been on an 8th grade field trip, so this will make these next jokes a lot easier. One of the biggest attractions right now is the National Zoo, because they have pandas, and not only do they have pandas, they have baby pandas. Mm-hmm. Wow, great. Anyways, so these tourists will come, and they'll stand in line for 2 to 3 hours, and they stand and they wait, and they come, and each person gets to see the pandas for about 10 to 15 seconds. Now, I spent every single weekend seeing every single DC attraction I could, but I did not make it to go see the pandas because I thought that was stupid. So I didn't go, but I did get to see the baby pandas because I went for the misanthrope viewing, which is where you watch them on a live stream. Now, this live stream gets thousands of views per day, thousands and thousands of views, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing to me. Because whenever I put a baby in a cage, people get really sensitive about it. I think it was the humans that were endangered. But this side got it before everyone else. But it's just funny, and tourists do really stupid things. And after watching tourists, one thing is on the National Mall, they don't have sidewalks, it's just graveled paths. And they trip a lot. And I've come to the conclusion that humans have 3 natural responses to tripping in public. The first response is, oh, gosh, I tripped. Haha, whatever, and you move on. The second response goes a little bit like this. God, did you fucking see that? Did you see that? That rock was at least the size of a quarter. And then they spend the rest of their time as everyone's walking around guarding the zone and safely securing them around because you have to watch out for big pebbles. And then the third reaction, which I would say is probably the most common but makes the least amount of sense, goes like this. And I'm just gonna run for a bit and I'm done. Oh God, are you guys still back there? We've gotta get to the pandas. So, catch up. But I don't want to paint it like it's only tourists who do stupid things, because interns do their fair share of stupid things. The stupidest thing I witnessed this summer, we had this student that I went to school with. His name was V, and he's blind. And V is initially, and he has a seeing eye dog named Miguel. Now V is from Nepal, goes to school in Alabama, and interned for a congressman in West Texas. And this congressman posted on social media a picture of his family's hunting trip. So naturally, 48 hours later, PETA protested outside of the Russell Senate building. So I don't know if you know, but PETA is actually against all forms of service dogs. So that includes seeing eye dogs, police canine, therapy animals, all that kind of stuff. And so V gets the bright idea that he should take Miguel on a walk, and the dog's natural instinct is to avoid crowds, but he just led him straight through the crowds. So PETA's out there like, we don't like politicians! And out comes V and Miguel, and they're picketing, and they kind of get quieter and quieter, because you can't really yell at the blind foreign kid. And he comes back to our evening classes that night, and he's telling everyone about it, and this kid named Zach is like, "Aw, V, you're the man. Like, that is so cool. Did they look mad?" Well, Zach, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know. I just feel like has everyone in here had an internship before? Most people? I heard one no. Good luck on your resume. Good luck getting a job. But everyone, you have to always have an internship now, and I kind of miss that because I feel like I haven't gotten a summer in a really long time, and I really, really do miss being a kid. Do you guys remember when you were a kid and you'd sit in the grass and you'd pick at the blades of grass? You'd take that one, that like especially thick and long one, and you would put it between your thumbs, and you would just breathe in the biggest breath that you could, and your soccer coach would yell from the sideline, "Maureen, we're still in this game, stand up!" And you would say, "In a minute." And then you would take that blade of grass and you would blow so hard it would make the most satisfying squealing sound you'd ever heard in your entire life. I kind of can't help but wonder if that's the same sound a girl makes when she farts while wearing a thong. Sometimes I think I can turn myself invisible.
Where'd Maureen go? Did you say who? Shouldn't, that's not what invisible is. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's right to make fun of you for not. I will point out, she was like, it's weird that like people in DC are way more educated. It's weird coming from Kansas that people aren't educated, and people were like, hey, now, come on. But those are the same people that booed when Tyler brought up school. He was like, who goes to school? And they're like, boo. Boo school. But yay to this stand-up show. Thank you guys for being out here tonight. Give yourself another round of applause. It's a whole lot of self-gratification. Shout out to the people who are in the 24-hour play festival. I see some of you in the back. Yeah. What a lethargic woo. I'm really far away, actually. It sounded actually pretty exciting. Anyway, there's a 24-hour play festival going on this weekend. I think the show's tomorrow night at 6:30 or 7. And I'm actually participating in this. I'm writing a play with this next person who's coming on stage, and he drove a long, long way to be here and do this show and write a play, and then he's going to drive home at 7 in the morning tomorrow. So he's obviously very dedicated to his craft, so please give a warm, warm welcome to Josh Ejnes. Hey guys, thanks so much. How many of you go here? Cool, cool. I really like coming down to K-State. The only suggestion I would have that would be cool is if you guys could like label your sink dryers. in the bathroom, because when I came in, I thought they were just like really progressive urinals. And I almost like really messed up. So it'd just be nice from a visitor's standpoint. Oh, it's cool to be here. It's a really weird time in my life right now. In a couple of weeks, it's gonna be the 1-year anniversary of my first rectal exam. Hey, thanks. Thanks for those people that applauded. It was weird because I didn't think it was gonna happen until I was 50. And the worst part is a couple of days later is the 1-year anniversary of my first blowjob, which I thought would happen when I was 15. And I didn't like that they happened so close together because they were a lot more like a similar experience than I would have liked. Because during both, I was just kind of looking down like, I wouldn't want to do that to me. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I was just sitting there like, hey, this isn't taking longer than usual, is it? They both went poorly. I don't know, a lot of stuff doesn't go too well for me. My apartment looks like a crack den, which is bad because I don't do crack. And it makes me think that when you do crack, you just turn into me, which I wouldn't pay for. I didn't realize it was such a problem till my neighbors, who I've never talked to, came and tried to buy drugs from me. And like, I'm not a drug dealer. There's just a knock at my door at 2 a.m. and I opened it. There's a guy there, he's like, hey, I live next door and I'd like to buy a quarter of weed. And I was like, I don't have that. And then he went, man, I'm not a cop, I see your apartment. And I was like, no, I really don't. And then he looked at me like I was in the wrong for not being a drug dealer but having that kind of apartment. So I apologized. I apologize for a lot of things. I was rear-ended recently, which is like the only thing in the world that's not your fault. Like, there's not really any way it could be, but I got out of the car and I went up to the girl that rear-ended me and I was like, I'm really sorry. And she was like, for what? And I was like, for existing. And she cried more. I had to keep apologizing. I have this reoccurring nightmare where I'm like the second coming of the Messiah, and there's a lot of people like worshiping me, and I'm just like, I'm sorry that it's me. They're like, no, it's fine. They're drinking my blood. It's just Diet Pepsi. It's just a bad situation for all involved. But I don't like going to parties because of that. A lot of like weird stuff happens to me. I went to this party recently, and there was this girl I used to date, and she was extremely drunk, and I was not, which isn't like my ideal situation for a conversation. And she pulls me into this corner, and she tries to like look seductive and not fall over, which wasn't a look that was working for her. She could have picked one. She looks at me and she goes, you wanna go somewhere? And I was like, no. But she decided that I must not have heard her, and the problem was proximity. So she grabs my shoulder and she pulls me closer and clarifies. She goes, you wanna go somewhere with me? And I was like, no, I got that part. No. And I tried to come up with an excuse. I was like, yeah, my friends are leaving soon. And she sees her opening to get even closer. She pulls me up, puts her nose against my nose, and she goes, you wanna go somewhere with me real quick? And I was like, that got worse. I don't think it's too big of a surprise that alcohol makes people do like stupid things, because alcohol is kind of a stupid idea. Like beer was probably the worst idea ever. Some guy was like, hey, let's make a bread soda. And then his friend's like, no, let's make a bread soda and leave it out until it goes bad. Like, that's all that beer is. And I think also, like, when people get really drunk, they turn into kids. Like, when you have a night and you black out, it's like looking back on a childhood memory. Like, everyone tells you about all this crazy stuff, and you're like, I just remember crying and eating mac and cheese. The kids are weird. I work with kids, and they have a really, especially the younger ones, a really messed up sense of morality and what's right and what's wrong. Like the other day I was cleaning up, and I found a ball made up of just sand and spit that was this big. And I was like, what? And I picked it up and I went, hey, who did this? And this kindergarten boy stepped forward extremely proudly. And he went, I invented that. And like, that wouldn't fly in the adult world. Like, that kid could never like sell meth. You know? Like on the first episode of Breaking Bad, they found like a blue piece of meth and they're like, oh, this meth is blue. And Walter White just came out and was like, I invented that. They'd just be like, oh, okay. And they'd arrest them. That'd be an awful series. And that's why kids don't sell meth. Another problem with like kids is you're not allowed to tell them to stop things anymore because it'll hurt their self-esteem. You have to ask them if what they're doing is okay. So if a kid's running, I have to be like, do we run here, Thomas? Do we run? And that's bad because like I get in the zone of doing that and then I go home and sometimes I'll accidentally do it to my roommate. Like the other day I walked in, he threw a piece of trash onto our floor and I was like, Michael, do we do that? Do we do that here, Michael? Is that the right thing to do? And he's like, hey, if you do that again, I'm gonna beat you up. It was not the best. Another like weird interaction I had recently was I was walking around downtown Columbia, which is where I go to school, and there's a lot of like people that like are like homeless that live downtown. They'll come and ask you for money, and I don't like to give them money, but I like to like offer to buy them food or something. And so like I'm pretty used to the interaction, but I had one that went really weird recently. This guy came up to me and he just went, hey man, you want to buy me 4 Mickeys? And for those of you that don't know, a Mickey's is a 40-ounce container of grain liquor. So this guy started out our conversation by asking me to buy him 160 ounces of grain alcohol. And I'd never experienced that, and I didn't really know what to do with my hands. So I just crossed my arms and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not 21. He's like, oh, well, you could give me some money and I could buy it. I was like, oh, that's not what I was thinking. I was like, so I told him I didn't have any cash, and he goes, you got a debit card? And I was like, okay, yeah. And then he goes, how about you just give me your debit card, tell me your PIN number, and I'll go buy it. And I was like, no. You know? But I finally talked to him. He's like, okay, can you buy me a bag of chips? So I agreed. I went in, I bought it, and I gave it to him. And then as I was walking away, this other man came up to him and was like, hey, can I like have a chip? And he said, no, I wheeled and dealed for these. And I was like, that was the only time I've ever avoided getting my identity stolen and still felt like I lost. I had a worse interaction. I had spring break last week and I went to Chicago and I heard this guy say the worst thing I've ever heard a human say. I was on this train in like a kind of bad neighborhood and a girl that was dressed like kind of like scantily clad walked by us. And this is a stranger sitting next to me and he looks at me and he goes, that girl's really asking for it. And I was like, no one would say that. So I asked him to clarify and he goes, no, you heard me. If something happens to that girl, it's her fault. And I was like, that's fucked up. That's like saying if someone burns your house down and someone came up to you and was like, you built it out of wood? Nah, man, we got a lot of arsonists in this neighborhood. You'd be like, why don't you just tell the arsonist to stop burning down houses, you know? Stop perpetuating arson culture. Yeah, thanks for the snaps. I really appreciate that. Hey guys, I'm Josh Ejnes. Thanks so much. Keep it going for Josh. He needs extra applause to remember on his long drive home early in the morning tomorrow. Thanks for coming out. I've been on a trip myself recently. I know Maureen brought up going to DC. I went to England, which is crazy. Anybody ever been across the pond? Yeah, like 2 people? Okay. It is different over there. You hear it's different. 1, they drive on the wrong side of the road. Yeah, I'll call it the wrong side of the road. I'm not afraid of them. 2, McDonald's advertises for the big and tasty. Who would have thought? Nobody cares. They talk differently. I mean, like, I know there's an accent, but the way they phrase things is different, too. Like, you'll be out to dinner, and whereas we may be like, yes, please, I would like the caramel cheesecake, they'll be like, no, thanks. To dessert, I'm full. I'm good. That sounds like a little much. Caramel on top of cheesecake. You don't think that's a little ridiculous to order? One thing is universal, though, no matter where you go, I've found this to be true. People love blowing up public toilets. They do. That's one thing that doesn't change no matter where you travel to. People love just wrecking public toilets. Like, it's just a tragedy when you walk in. You know what I mean? Like, I've never, all the shitting in my life that I've ever done, I don't think I could do what has been done to the public bathrooms to walk into. There's just toilet paper everywhere. It's like smeared. The thing is clogged up. Sorry. It's a real. We're here to talk about real stuff tonight. That's a real problem, okay? If we just don't talk about it, then nothing gets done. Okay. Sorry for coughing into the mic. We've got 2 performers left tonight. This next comic is going to be really great, which is a totally unfair setup. She's going to do fine, and then when she exceeds your expectations, it is really good. It'll look like I undersold and her great comedy set she's going to do next. So please give it up for Meghan Anderson, everybody.
Hey guys. So my mom is here and I didn't know she was coming. So Easter brunch is gonna be great. I'm pumped. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, Mom? So I'm really confused when moms put those bumper stickers on their vans. It's like, my son's an honor student at Westwood View Elementary. And it just seems like such a mediocre achievement that should have happened. I mean, like, great, that's cool, they're an honor student and, like, not on meth or something. But the fact that they would commit to the bumper sticker and that they're that proud of it. Like, I don't put bumper stickers on my car for mediocre achievements that I do. Like, I don't put bumper stickers saying, like, I went to $2 Eucalyptus with $30 and made it to my 9:30 the next day. I feel like people wouldn't be as proud. And what would the mascot be? Like your like shady cousin who started buying you like alcohol when you were in high school. He's like, yep, I endorse this bumper sticker. That's my only job. So I've been thinking would rather is a harsh term. I've been considering maybe getting a DUI rather than taking Safe Ride. Because Safe Ride is like the worst people in Manhattan all in one condensed area. All on the same Safe Ride, all on the same van. There's the girls who are clearly underage, who are going to kites, and they're just like giving each other a pep talk. They're like, tonight's our night, Tiffany. Tonight's our night. And they have on like way too much makeup because they're like, the blush is gonna make us look like at least 22. Like, we got this. And they're just like, I know. And they're already like way too drunk. So, you know, like 10 minutes after they get dropped off, they're gonna be like dead in the gutter somewhere. And then there are the bros who are giving each other a pep talk, but it like is a little bit different. No matter what day you get on, the bros are always on the rebound. They're like, yeah, forget Ashley, we're on the rebound, rebound. Gonna slam dunk on some bitches tonight. And they're just like really, really overconfident. You're like, you've never talked to a girl before, but tonight's the night they're going home with like 10. They're like, we got it tonight. Just way too confident. And then there's the guy who's racist for no reason. It's like, we were so close to getting to the beach museum and getting dropped off. In like the last like 5 minutes, he's like, I hope there's not a lot of Mexicans there. And it's just, no one was talking to him, and he's just like, yeah. Like, he just stands by that. The last time I was on Safe Ride, we went over a bump, and someone goes, oh, till we hit someone? And someone goes, it only matters if they were white. They said that in public, loud enough that I heard them. And then someone goes, yeah, white is all right. Well, that takes a lot of courage to say on a small van full of other white people. Like, cool. That's great. So, again, shout out to my mom. When I was in elementary school, my mom thought she was signing me up for swim practice. Nah, that's just swim lessons. But it was swim team. So I learned how to swim real fast in a competitive way. And my one piece was like way too tight in all the wrong places. And I can see how you wouldn't want to like look at an 11-year-old and be like, yo, that one piece is not going well. Like, I get that, like, that's hard as a parent, but what's worse is being 23 and seeing pictures of me as an 11-year-old with a giant camel toe. That's way more traumatic. Like, if it was like a Back to the Future sitch where I could like go back and be like, listen, 11-year-old Meg, you take the swimsuit off. No, it's not working. The afro, the one piece, it was really rough. And it would start off really fun, the swim meets. Everyone would be really excited, the whistle would blow, everyone would get in, everyone would be swimming, and the parents are cheering, oh yeah, you learned how to swim, that's great. They're really excited. And I would be the one who finished like dead last. Like seriously, by like minutes. And it's to where it's like, ooh, like you don't know whether to like look away or like keep cheering them on. They're like, I don't want to kick her away, she's down. Like, you got that. Does that seem sarcastic that I'm saying you got this? Because like she doesn't. And yeah, that was rough. And then afterwards, my dad would take me to Wendy's to eat my feelings. So it felt really counterproductive. It felt like my 30 minutes of cardio that I got shouldn't have warranted 3 Frosties and a Scooby-Doo sesh. But that's what happened, so I guess it all worked out okay. And that's like a thing with our generation. Like, we grew up like needing to be validated for everything. Like, everything you do. Like, I showed up to soccer practice today. Better get a trophy. Just like everything. It's like, that's just our thing. And so I still feel like that. I still feel like I need to get validated for things. But the problem is I don't do things that should be praised or should be validated. So I've been talking to O'Malley's about giving out participation ribbons. That's in the works. We'll see. I'll probably just end up with a shitty bumper sticker, though. Thank you, guys.
Keep it going for Meg Anderson. Last summer, I worked an event. I work as a TV camera operator for sporting events sometimes. Low-key sporting events, as evidenced by this next example. I worked an event this summer, and I didn't know what it was going to be beforehand. I just knew it was called a country club swim meet, which sounds like a super racist thing. That sounds like a very racist euphemism. And it kind of was. There was one, maybe half Asian or Pacific Islander woman there, and then everyone else was white, and that made me really uncomfortable. But it was also like a meeting of country clubs, so it was like the whitest of white people all in one area to like cheer on their kids who are way too young to be competing in swimming. And the whole thing was just kind of like, oh man, I'm getting paid, so I'm gonna do it. I owe the IRS $1,900. But I was like, And then the thing that sent me over the edge, because it didn't feel like real life, was at the end, there was it was like guys that were in college, you could tell, that like came back to coach the younger kids. So they're all walking around and like, they're like very like kind of, I mean, nothing against Greek culture, but like very kind of like fratty, like we're the coaches, you do, like we know what's up, we'll tell you how to swim. And there was one in particular that I noticed, he looked exactly like Johnny, the bad guy in The Karate Kid. He had like the blonde, like ultra blonde hair coif, and he just was like guy. And I remember at the very end of the meet, this kid gets out. He had to be like 5 or 6, and Johnny comes over to the kid, and he's like, "That was championship swimming." And he gave him a high five, and I was like, "You're breeding a supervillain. You're making that kid into a villain. It's not fair." We have one comedian left tonight, and then you all can go back to doing whatever dumb Easter plays you had outside of this. Thank you all sincerely for coming out tonight and making this event possible. I appreciate you giving your time and support, again, to live art. So, without further ado, please give it up for the very talented Aaron Naylor.
Hey. I have a great memory, and the rest of them are terrible. I remember when I was a fetus, I went as my mom for Halloween. I also remember on my 5th birthday, my grandma told me about her 5th birthday. They had a farm. On the farm, they had a donkey. And the donkey got ran over by a tractor, and it had to get a full body cast. And when it came back to the party, everybody thought it was a piñata, so they beat the shit out of it. Then she told me that the candy was terrible. Still trying to figure out what happens when an orphan steps on a crack. I posted that joke on Facebook and a girl got mad. She said, "That's not funny." I said, "That's a joke." And then she said, "What would you think if an orphan saw that Facebook post then?" I said, "That orphan's doing pretty fucking well if it's got Facebook. He doesn't even need us." I was put under house arrest for burning down my own house, so they just let me go. Nuts. I think that hockey players should know how to swim just in case. I used to sing in an all-male a cappella group. It's called Lonely Fat Kid in the Shower. We were pretty good. My sister's claustrophobic, which is why she was born premature. It's a good joke. I'm not married, but if I ever do get married, I'm gonna wear the ring on a necklace as opposed to on my ring finger, because I feel that if I ever got my ring finger severed, I would have to explain to my wife how I lost the ring and the finger. But if I ever got my head severed, I wouldn't have to tell her anything. It'd be perfect. Beached whales are the astronauts of the ocean. Do you guys think that whales look at submarines as their Iron Man? Do you think that cannibals purposely get stuck in the mountains with their friends? Just me. Probably the hardest day of my life was when I had to tell my parents that I was adopted. They were like, "No way. I don't believe you one bit." Sorry. I let my dog watch Blue's Clues, now I can't find anything. I would hate to be a suicidal cat because I would just start playing with a noose and forget what I was gonna do. It was a throw-in, you don't have to laugh at that. Just let you know when that happens. When my brother was a little kid, he was almost killed by a car because he thought that look both ways meant up and down. It's not very smart. I like to go to rivers and skip the rocks back on shore. I like to go to information desks and give them my own. I like to go to art shows and sign all the corners on the painting that the painter didn't sign. He comes up to me, he's like, "What the hell are you doing to my painting?" I'm like, "It's mine now, I got more names on it." That would suck if I was a lot taller. No, they're removable. You just have to duck every now and then. No, but probably my favorite hobby is going down to the park and feeding the ducks in front of all the homeless people. They hate it, but it's all right. Poor homeless people. Blow-up mattresses are sex dolls for chubby chasers. Had to. Boomerangs are just frisbees for cat people. Don't worry, there's another boomerang joke. That's a build. My parents built their house out of old boomerangs in case a tornado hits. Dude, Aaron, fucking killer boomerang jokes. I know. But tell me twice, nobody told me. All right, sorry. The magician asked me a trick question. I still have no idea how he did it. If you get that on the car ride home, call me. This is important for my career. I wanted to learn Braille, so I decided I was going to get the book on Braille. I went to the bookstore and they were all out, but they did have the audio book on Braille. So now I'm really good at Morse code. I'm terrified of phobias, which is why I don't know what that one's called. I plan on spontaneously combusting just so they have to call it something else. Just gonna stare at that double bass all day. Was hanging out with my deaf cousin Quentin. Simultaneously, he broke both of his hands, but he had no way of telling me. On the deaf one? Not the orphan one? All right. Well, it's taking a turn. I don't know. My sister named my nephew Dumbo because he's got big ears and he's never going to know who his father is. You don't laugh at a deaf joke, you're gonna get the sad nephew joke. It's Dumbo's birthday tomorrow. It's gonna be cool. This is not alcohol. God. Forgot I was doing this on a school grounds. Should have just booze cruised. Anyway, mistakes are made. I forgot what's next. I'm just gonna start over. I have a great memory. When I'm really bored, I like to go down to department stores that sell fur coats and protest. Not because I'm against the wearing of animals, but because they advertise them as new instead of used. Pisses me off. This is the part of the show where I like to take requests. You just tell me one of my jokes and I'll repeat you. Go ahead. 0 fans, perfect. If you like what you heard, I'm on OkCupid. Let's move some shit around. I got the Abraham Lincoln Chia Pet, but I had to bring it back because it had a hole in it. I told that joke in Illinois and they didn't like it. I didn't remember why, and I remembered, oh, Chicago has a Lincoln Park. Lincoln is from Illinois. Whatever. Give a shit. It's a Chia Pet, it's not real. If it was real, that'd be terrifying. Abe Lincoln's making a comeback. It's not Futurama. No, I got a couple of candles. They're scented candles. They're scented like holidays. One of them is scented like President's Day, and the other smells like Easter. I lit President's Day, and it smelled a lot like a dead guy. And then I lit Easter, and it smelled a lot like President's Day. This is for the holiday. What an idiot. One more? Okay. Fucking idiot. Delusional. Piece of shit. My grandpa died because they did the autopsy too soon. He was a really cool guy. In the 60s, he was an extra on the moon landing. He always used to tell me that chicks dig a bad boy, which is why my Christian mingle name is Judas. I'm Aaron Naylor. Thanks a lot.
That's our show, guys. Thanks for coming out. If you liked the show, tell UPC via Facebook, Twitter, all that. Hit them up and tell them we love the stand-up show and keep bringing this back. Enjoy your Easter plans. Drive safe if you're driving. Thank you all for coming out. See you.